To good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon, depending on where you are in this journey we call life. Thank you for being here today. I want to talk to you about something we all think about, whether we admit it or not: leadership. Look at the great ones: Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Jacinda Ardern, or even that remarkable teacher who changed the trajectory of your life, and we say they were born that way, gifted, charismatic, natural leaders. Jetta, but here's what I've learned after years of studying this, talking to generals and CEOs and parents and coaches. No one is born a leader. Leadership has to be learned. To every single great leader you admire, learned how to lead. Think about that for a moment. Let's start with why this is so important. We live in a world that desperately needs better leadership, not more authority, not louder voices or bigger titles. We need people who inspire us to become the best versions of ourselves. People who make us feel safe enough to take risks. People who remind us that we're in this together. But too many of us sit back and wait for the right person to show up. We say, "I'm not a leader. That's not me." Or we put people on pedestals and then act surprised when they fall. Why does this matter so deeply? Because when we believe leadership is a genetic lottery, we absolve ourselves of responsibility. We stop growing. We stop trying. And the world stays exactly as it is, full of potential, but short on people willing to step up. Imagine a different belief. What if leadership isn't a title? What if it's a choice? What if every single one of us, yes, you in the back row, and you watching this at home, what if we all have the capacity to lead? That changes everything. Let me tell you a story. I once sat down with a Marine Corps general. Decorated, commanded thousands. I asked him, "Are leaders born or made?" He looked at me and said, "Simon, we don't even ask that question in the Marine Corps." Guess I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because if we thought leaders were born, we'd only recruit them. Instead, we recruit everyone and we teach them how to lead." Every Marine, regardless of background, education, or personality, is put through leadership training from day one. They're taught to put the needs of their people before their own. They're taught that rank doesn't make you a leader, responsibility does. And here's the remarkable thing: it works. Ordinary people become extraordinary leaders, not because they were born special, but because they learned how to care, how to serve, and how to inspire. That's the why. When we understand that leadership is learned, we stop waiting for heroes and we start becoming them. So how do we do it? How do we learn to lead? It starts with a mindset, a way of seeing the world. Great leaders don't play finite games. They don't lead for the promotion, the bonus, or the applause. They play the infinite game, the game with no finish line, where the goal is to keep playing. To keep the organization, the team, the family, the community alive and thriving for the next generation. Great leaders understand human biology. We are social animals. Our survival depends on cooperation, not competition. When we feel safe, when we trust the people around us, our bodies release oxytocin. We become more creative, more collaborative, more generous. That's the biology of trust. But when we feel threatened by a boss who yells, by a culture of fear, by constant pressure to perform, cortisol floods our system. We shut down, we protect ourselves. Innovation dies. Great leaders create environments where people feel safe. They don't demand loyalty. They earn trust. How do they do that? They practice empathy. They listen more than they speak. They ask, "How are you doing?" And they actually wait for the answer. They admit when they don't know. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the foundation of trust. They put their people first. In the Marines, officers eat last. In great companies, leaders take the pay cut before laying anyone off. In great families, parents sacrifice so their kids can dream. And they repeat the why over and over. Not the goals, not the metrics, the why. Why are we here? What do we believe? How are we when no one is watching? That repetition builds culture. It builds belonging. It builds a circle of safety where people can bring their whole selves to work, to home, to life. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly inspired by someone? Not impressed, inspired. The kind of inspiration that made you want to be better. I bet that person didn't give you a PowerPoint about KPIs. I bet they made you feel seen. They made you believe in something bigger than yourself. That's how leadership works. What we do next. So what do we do with this? If leadership is learned, then it's a skill. And skills can be practiced. Here's your action plan. Simple, but not easy. First, Find someone you admire and ask them to mentor you. Not for a job, not for advice on your resume. Ask them to teach you how they think, how they make decisions, how they handle fear. To second, practice service every day. Hold the door, listen without interrupting. Offer help before it's asked. Leadership is service. Start small. A third, build your own circle of safety. Who are the people in your life who make you feel safe? Invest in them. Tell them what they mean to you. Protect that circle fiercely. To fourth, when you make a mistake and you will own it, say, that was my fault. Here's what I'm going to do differently. Watch how quickly trust grows. And finally, share this message. Tell someone today, you don't have to be born a leader. You just have to be willing to learn. Because here's the beautiful truth. The world doesn't need more charismatic saviors. It needs more ordinary people willing to do the hard work of becoming extraordinary leaders. You don't need permission. You don't need a title. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You just need to start. I believe in you. Not because of who you are today, but because of who you can become tomorrow. We're all in this infinite game together. And the only way we keep playing is by learning how to lead. Thank you.